Well, Florida State was definitely focused, and that was the concern coming into this game. They absolutely smack Wake Forest. Is this what we should expect the rest of the season? It's a lot of discussion coming up right now on Locked.
You are Locked On Seminoles, your daily podcast on the Florida State Seminoles. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back into Locked On Seminoles for this post-game report, one that's actually a happy one. If you're shocked, you can join me in that category because in the first half, Florida State only had 2 penalties. They were the smarter team. They were the ones that came out with authority. They ran the ball pretty well, but it had some kinks. We'll get into that. That is one of my pet peeves. It was inconsistent, but give Wake Forest credit. They do give out scholarships too. They got a pretty good coaching staff. But overall, Florida State was the smarter football team tonight. How often have we said that this year after the month of September? Have we said it at all? Give Florida State credit. Give Mike Norvell credit. Give everybody on the defensive staff in particular credit. And by the way, player of the game, Earl Little Jr., that's pretty easy. A pick and a forced fumble, 7 tackles. He's the guy. But my take here overall is the one that I did not expect to even bring into light other than from a negative perspective, in that Florida State took the coaching serious this week. They had to have taken the play game, the play calls and all that stuff seriously. They didn't intervene in their own heads. Hey, I'm going to go do this. I'm going to be the lone wolf. It was team football, again, especially on defense. No idea where this came from. No idea. But as the saying goes, give applause when it's due. They were up 42-0. 42-0 before Wake even scored. Let's just give you a couple stats to put it in perspective, because, I really didn't expect this. Florida State had 2 penalties in the first half, only 2 in the second. Surprises me here, but Wake had 11 penalties. So Florida State far more smart with the penalty area. Florida State on third down, 7 out of 11. Sign me up for that. Wake Forest, keep in mind, they defeated SMU last week and held them to 12. The same SMU team that just beat Miami today. And I'm sure all of you are sad for Miami, right? But no, this is why college football is so wacky. And I said it all week that, I could see this game going any which way. I had nothing on my bingo card said Florida State would be up late in this game 42-0. 0. Did not see a blowout either way. I picked Florida State to win 21-17. So while I got the team right, I had no idea this was coming. So I don't really get any credit for this. It is buck wild. A couple of key notes here. Despite the fact that Tommy is clearly not Tommy anymore, and he's probably not going to be the rest of the season. You can see it. He threw the ball down the field well. And for the game, let's see, Tommy, he only threw 16 passes. Here's moving forward, my overall crutch for any defense that's going against the Noles. You know that they're going to throw the ball deep once they get to midfield or after turnovers. Like that one, they got the ball at midfield. I can't remember what it was. They were up 21-0 or something like that. And I'm like, well, they just got a turnover or whatever. Here comes a bomb. It's coming. Wake, you better be ready. No, they weren't ready. Deuce catches the bomb down the sideline, and there you go. That kind of iced the game. 21 was probably over, but then once they got the ball down there, it was over. They're very predictable, but they just execute when Tommy's on time. And to that, if they throw less than 20 passes in a Gus offense, you are cooked. That means they're running the ball efficiently enough. It wasn't great by any means. Total stats here, sack adjusted for Florida State, 165 yards, but 4.5 yards per carry with a running quarterback who's not able to run. Now, that sounds like an oxymoron, but this is what Florida State has right now. A quarterback who's gaming it. He's going out there and chucking it around. He was 12 out of 16 for, let's see, Tommy threw for 271 and a touchdown. He had a couple others that were pretty close to scores. He threw the ball really well. And again, he's banged up. He's coming off a headshot in the Stanford game. Tip of the cap to Tommy, because quite frankly, that's what you need. There is absolutely unequivocally no substitute for accuracy on throwing the football. It is the end all be all. It is the way you eliminate the other team from having more talent than you. And Florida State has more talent than Wake anyway. And that's why they blew them out. If you have accurate deep shots, that's a whole nother level. It's Katie bar the door. And Florida State put their foot on the gas and they left Wake Forest in the dust. They earned it. I'll give credit where it's due. I really liked Gus's game plan. It was kind of weird with the quarterback situation being what it was. I didn't know who would get the ball. Cam didn't get any carries. I don't think Rodell did. Let's see. Chroma did he even get a carry? Chroma got 4. Okay, so he got in later. I was flipping the channels at the end because the game was boring. Salchuk had 6 carries for 10 yards, but 2 touchdowns. He was good. Wouldn't matter down on the goal line. How about Pittman? 1 carry for 7. Like, they find different ways to get Randy the ball. And he's, by the way, I know Florida State has not lived up to expectation this year by any stretch. Randy Pittman is one of the most versatile football players. Forget position. One of the most versatile football players in the country. He's caught a touchdown. He's thrown it. He's ran it. Matter of fact, he did all 3 in the Virginia game. He's just a good football player, period. And for the receiving, I mean, here's a shock. I know you're not going to be anything other than like this is what you expect at this point, but Mekhi Danzy had another bomb. Man, that guy's fast. Deuce, 5 catches, 148. Good Lord. When your top 2 receivers catch multiple passes for an average of 29.6 and the other 33.5, you're in a pretty good spot. Florida State just whacked them. They did what they're supposed to do. I know they beat Alabama in game 1, but this is the most complete game they played. Because Norvell will even tell you in the Bama game, they left a lot of points on the board. Now, I have a few qualms that I need to get with still because the goal is to continue to get better, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'll talk about that next. But like overall, though, considering the circumstance they were in, I can't sit here and complain. I can't. The only thing man, this probably goes against the last few days of Locked On Seminoles. I still think Norvell needs to be fired regardless of what happens the rest of this year. If they went out, he needs to be fired. Well, let me be clear. But tonight, the team, the way they rallied around each other, it played well together and really made critical plays because they had some goofiness. And again, I'll get to that in just a second. Overall, you got to give these guys some credit. It would have been really easy to mail it in after Stanford. Quarterback's banged up. We're going into the bye week. A bunch of these guys, let's not kid ourselves, are still thinking about the portal. But they balled out tonight. That's just reality. To be honest, it's still in shock in a good way. Good for Florida State's players, and hats off to those that really did. Honestly, dialed in and went out and played. This is what it's supposed to look like at Florida State. So when we come back, again, I have those qualms. That is next here on Locked On Seminoles. Today's show is brought to you by Game Time. With Florida State finally getting back on track, it's a little more exciting for all of us. Tailgates and all that stuff around Doak are all blast. It's nothing quite like it, but let's be real. Getting tickets to go to a Florida State game or anywhere else, it can be a little bit of a hassle. Endless queues. You got some of those weird price changes at the end at checkout. It's not a whole lot of fun, and that's why Game Time is what I use. I actually just bought tickets to a basketball game to go see my alma mater, Indiana. My dad and I are going to go to a game in Indiana next month. It was easy. In and out in 5 minutes, including putting in my credit card to buy the tickets. It's not hard. Download the app, look for the team you want, just type it in, and then just select the game. I mean, this is not rocket science. It's a very, very simple app for anybody to use. So take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download the Game Time app today. We are also brought to you by our friends over at Mazda, who crafts cars for those who do more than simply move. You can feel the Japanese craftsmanship in every detail, from the metallic accents to the available Napa leather upholstery, you can make everyday drives feel like anything but. From smooth handling to intuitive controls, and with the all-wheel drive standard in every crossover SUV, you can drive with confidence through almost any weather condition. Like our players, we sweat every detail because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved. All right, let's talk real quick on two things that bug me. This is, again, you won 42-7. So this isn't going to be a diatribe, just got to mention it. Florida State, I forget how many tackles we get. Let's give it an accurate number here. Wake Forest plays pretty good aggressive defense, but at the same time, they had 10 tackles for loss. That's a lot. That's a lot. Florida State, by the way, had 7 tackles for loss. They got 4 sacks. The Noles gave up 3 sacks too. Like, part of it is some goofiness mixed in, but giving up 10 tackles for loss with a veteran O-line, you're not making the right reads. The O-line was not on the same page with Tommy. The O-line was not on the same page with each other, and they still scored 42. So that shows you again, there is absolutely, unequivocally, no replacing accurate throws, especially, again, down the field. Why Tommy is so good at that, I have no idea. I saw him do it in high school, too. The one time I went to go up in Georgia to see him play. He just has a knack for it. And if he hits that first one, another one usually comes. It snowballs. He gains confidence, and he certainly has 2 NFL receivers to throw to, and Danzy and Deuce Robbins. Those are guys. No doubt about it. So it's a lot of fun to see. The other thing, even though they didn't commit a lot of penalties and everything else, there for a little while, I mean, it was 7-0, and it was a struggle. They just couldn't quite get over the hump. They couldn't get the interception, like a pick six, a scoop and score. They could not get over the hump. Now, again, I know they eventually caved in, but Wake did not come out with any kind of clear-cut focus. They had, I think it was 6 penalties in the first half. That's not a good sign. They ran the ball okay. They just shot themselves in the foot. And then every now and then, Florida State would interject with a good play too. But they shut them out in that first half. And then in the second half, they really snuffed it out. Looking at the stat, this is fun right here. I've been waiting to do this for quite some time. Looking at the second half only stats, it's pretty interesting because for the second half, Wake had 103 yards. I mean, that is horrific. Rushes, oof, brutal. 20 carries, 5 yards. Now, sacks count as part of that, but still that's like 17 or 18 for 25 or something like that. Florida State kicked them in the teeth in the second half. Why? Again, I don't know. I'm just enjoying it. I'm as shocked as everybody else that they were this laser focused. Run gap fits were good. That Claiborne guy for Wake, he's going to play in the NFL. He averaged 1.9 yards per carry tonight. 1.9. Where in the world has this been? I don't know how else to say it, but like Florida State was just flat out more focused tonight and by a landslide level. And then something cool happened once they got up to 21-0, and then Deuce catches the bomb. The glow, if you will, meaning everybody played off everybody else. They played fast and free, just let their talent do what they're supposed to. Everybody just kind of did their job, and they just, again, it was an avalanche. They probably could have dropped 50, start putting in different guys and all that. That's fine. First time they were having fun since before the Virginia game. Isn't college football wacky? Florida State included. No idea. And here's the other thing. FSU, just looking ahead briefly, they go to Clemson next week. Clemson just lost 46-45 at home. It's hard for me to say they gave up 46 points at home to a quarterback that will end up in the NFL. The Mensa kid for Duke is legit, but their defense is garbage. Clemson lost with 560 yards of offense. 560. That's hard to do, but they found a way. To that end, that game is going to be one of the wildest of the year, and I'm just looking forward to it from an aesthetic point of view because Florida State having 4 penalties tonight. It better not be more than that. Clemson's quarterback has figured it out. Cade Klubnik, all of a sudden the light has went on as a senior getting ready to go to the draft. 560. And their running game is just mediocre. They have to chuck it around, but they got speed. Florida State's discipline is going to be key. And to that end, defensively, talking about stats for a second, the defense, as I mentioned, Earl Little is your MVP. Forced fumble, pick, seven tackles. Shaheem Brown has done pretty darn good. Yeah, tackle and a half for loss, 5 total tackles, a sack. He was a guy that, let's be honest, Tony White was not very happy with in fall camp. That was blatant. He's risen up. He's worked his way up. He's earned it. Of course, with the Edwin Joseph situation last week, that's not totally shocking, but I thought Edwin wouldn't even play this game. And I will address that on Sunday and Monday's podcasts. I'll have a full review tomorrow, just my thoughts on not just the game, but where Florida State's at, a little preview of Clemson. It's going to be a very big box show tomorrow, but I'll have it out by early evening on Sunday. But good night. The safety play for Florida State kind of dictates what they're going to do defensively. In the Miami game, it was horrific. Against Virginia, couldn't tackle a dead person. Tonight, Claiborne's one of the best running backs, not just the ACC, but the country, 1.9 yards per tote. Let me make sure that's right. That's what I got in my head, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Claiborne, total carries, 14 carries, 27 yards, a long of 9, 1.9 average. So on 13 carries, he had 18 yards, plus the 9-yard carry. I mean, they stuffed him. They absolutely stuffed him. Did anybody see that coming? I did not. Now, since there's a bazillion people in the chat, I'll go ahead and thank you very much for all the people who got questions and comments. Happy to jump in here, see what we got. Surfer is going to be in the chat. I see him on here more than once. Blake Nagy, don't want to hear about the players quitting or the locker room has been lost. It ain't pretty, but the team is playing and up on a top 25 defense. You know what? That's pretty much where I see it. For those that don't know, and this shocks me too, Wake's defense is one of the better, not just in the ACC, but the country. And Florida State just beat the bejesus out of them. For the game, Knowles had 421 yards. And here's the other key. I mean, this isn't real shocking. They had 1 turnover late in the game after it was already over. That's it. Got to give him some credit for that, man. There's no doubt. Surfer, Brock comes in instead of Sperry and immediately gives up that shutout. How do fans know more than the coaches? I have no idea what's going on, but I'm going to go ahead and make a guess right here. There's 2 parts to this. Number 1, you want to give Brock a chance to play a game's over. Okay, that's fine. Number 2, are we 100% certain Sperry is healthy? Because what do I always say about coaches at press conferences? What are the 3 things they do? They lie, and they lie. There are no such things as accurate. To give you an example, I listened to Mario Cristobal's press conference after they got beat by SMU today, and he's the most notorious guy in college football. He is awful, with just blatant. He gets mad when people ask him in fall campus, like there's an injury, like literally. It's your job. Hello. But on top of that, somebody asked me about 2 guys that were supposed to play. Say, yeah, we thought they were going to play. Then, they got ruled out. No, that's garbage. We can tell you're lying again. Shocker. He can't coach on game day and he lies some more. But the bottom line is still the same thing. Florida State put in the quarterback that nobody's excited about, nothing against him, but he fumbled and that gave away the shutout. Is Sperry healthy though? Are we 100% certain? I'm not. He took a few hits in that game against Stanford. And again, if he's not 100%, play the guy that is. And that kind of goes into my other point I forgot to make this a minute ago. Their running back rotation from game to game is the most wild I've ever seen. You don't know who's going to start, who's going to play, what situation. They rotate. They have at least one guy they just completely sit out every week. I've never seen anything like it. I don't know if a guy has a thumbnail that gets cut, they don't let him play or what it is, but it's just wild. Like Keziah's healthy like once every 3 games. Rodell, we keep hearing, yeah, he's going to play. Is Rodell going to play? Like, there is no such thing as a depth chart at Florida State or any form of an accurate injury report at Florida State. None. Zero. I won't even read Florida State's injury reports anymore. I'm done with. I have zero interest in what Norvell has to say about. He's borderline as bad as Mario. It's really close. Drives me nuts. It's amazing to have the refs on your side. Won't expect it ever again. But wow, this is amazing what it feels like for every FSU opponent. No comment, but I get it, man. Eric Edwards. I'm just glad the players were still locked in. That's what I was worried about. Good win, go Noles, 100%. I said the same thing all week. They proved they were because they were up 42-0 for a late score by Wake. Mr. Wolf, I'm glad that streak is over. Oh, yeah, the ACC streak. Oh, amen to that. I forgot about that. Amen to that. Garrett, Wake lost this game with mistakes and penalties, but it was nice to see some fight from the Noles. Good win for Mike. Amen. Amen. Eric, I guess we can hold off on the U-Haul this week for Mike. Post of the day. Hey, they're going to Clemson next week. They win that, we can talk more about it, but that's interesting. Surfer, Wake class was calling timeout with 4 seconds left. Did they really? I was walking into my room to set my computer up. I wasn't. 4 seconds left? That's really dumb. That's really dumb. Come on, man. Almighty 5, Georgia Tech losing, and damn, Miami can't get the ACC title game. How about that? Georgia Tech's defense sucks. Their offense is good, but I feel bad for Haynes King. His team, they just don't recruit well enough. I knew they would finally come into a situation they couldn't do much. John Fletcher, it was a win, but let's be honest, year in and year out, you were supposed to beat Wake Forest. True. Let's see. John Fletcher, they missed Dave Clawson in his preparation. Clawson could coach. Like most guys, he doesn't want anything to do with NIL. Glenn sold, send him to the portal and go all in on Sperry as the 2. I don't think there's any chance Glenn is going to beat Sperry out next year. We can stop hearing about the losing streak. Almighty. That is true. Let's see. Rawls or Little player of the game on defense. Rawls has become a really good cover guy. He's so darn long. I know him. Like, his arms are forever. He was just born to play corner. Let's see. Rhinos. Miami loses. Clemson loses. And the good guys win. Go Noles. Amen to that. Jonathan, Dwayne, Deuce, Singleton, Tommy, player of the game on offense. I'll talk about Singleton in a second. I would say Deuce because, like, you got to catch those. Those were good throws, but you got to catch those. And he changes games just with him being out there, man. There's just no way to cover 6'6" guys that run like him. Yanni, Rhinos, Glenn is so bad. That is my takeaway. Oh. Typical. Watch Norvell win out and keep his job. That's from John Fletcher. I highly doubt that's going to happen. Kramer, I still felt we couldn't run the ball as well as we did against Bama. Again, the main reason here is very simple. This is a checkbox. Tommy is not healthy. Every other team now knows that. They're diving down on read option plays like there's no help. You're not going to run the ball like you were before. If you do not 100% respect the running back, taking it around end or running other versions of it, your running backs are going to get smacked more. That happened tonight. But it's still on Florida State because that's on film. Everybody saw Tommy get smacked in that Stanford game, and he's been hobbled anyway. They got to adjust. And then Norvell and Gus have got to come up with something. And Gus is a very stubborn man. I can assure you that from knowing him. He doesn't like to change much, but he can't run Tommy the way he would like, and Tommy's not going to pull it that much either. It's going to be interesting what they do against Clemson because their defense is struggling too. The early Wake Forest penalties killed their momentum, absolutely. If they hadn't had some dumb, just like just mental errors. This game might have been close for a while, but they're just not very good. Like, they lack a lot of discipline up front. Surfer, if Norvell wins out to keep his job, but I doubt they're able to. Yeah, I'm not buying that. Surfer, Tommy is a heck of a competitor, still tries to do too much on occasion, but can't question his desire to win. I told you all that's the way he is. That's the way he's built. Blake Nagy, Singleton could be the guy. When they play him, he does pretty good. Alpha Appa, Sam Singleton broke out this game. He had like 80, where is he? Sam's totals, 14 carries, 91 yards, had a 27-yarder, 6.5 per carry, and a score. That's a good football game. Rhinos, I saw different guys getting a start today. Looks like the coaches made a lot of adjustments during the bye. Your spot should never be secure when you're losing. Pretty simple. Felix Flores, Georgia Tech are losing to NC State. Did that game end? Did anybody see that? Let me see. I'm going to laugh if they did. But they had given up over 400 yards like going in to the fourth quarter. I assume that it happened. But, like, how do you... Of course, ESPN's got to have a stupid ad on. Let's see. Yeah, they did. Georgia Tech went down 48-36. Oklahoma is going to beat Tennessee, too. That's pretty funny. That is hilarious, as a matter of fact, because I thought Oklahoma was cooked, too. Mateer only has 159 yards passing, and they're going to win at Tennessee. Oof. But anyway, the ACC is so goofy. Who knows what will happen next week, but that's the way it is. Kyle, break out the Pappy. We won. Parabellum, great win, but Norvell still has to go. I said it already this show. I'll say it again. Even if Florida State wins out, he's got to be out. Period. He is not the answer. Surfer, Pittman needs 10 touches a game. Still don't know why we don't get the ball to Squirrel and Lucas more. Jalen Lucas getting 3 touches a game is criminal. Jonathan Dwayne, go with Singleton the rest of the season. He finds the holes. He's a pretty good player. Rhinos, looks like the defense started the game playing 4-2-5. You know, against certain teams, and he talked about this, you got to do what you got to do. The problems with the 4-2-5, it's, just like anything else, personnel. FSU is actually set up for the 3-man front, which hardly anybody is. But Florida State doesn't have the depth to play with those, like Florida State historically has 2 twitchy, at minimum, edge rushers. They're going to go to the NFL draft. They don't have anybody right now. Amari fits the role and he's learning the spot, but he's not even a starter. So you got to play one bigger end, and then you got to play Amari or something like that in pass rushing situations. They don't have it. But you got the Sear twins, and I think it was Mandrell got the sack tonight. I get them confused sometimes. You have at least the pieces to run it, but they got to get a couple guys in the portal this offseason. But Coach White will run it occasionally, and it's 3-4 and 4-3. They're really not that much different. Alpha Papa, Mike, Gotis? I don't even know what that means. Rhinos, Wake is really bad. They beat SMU last week. It's bizarre. The Yellow Jackets are going to lose tonight, and they did. He still needs to be fired from Sports Icons. Yes, Mike Norvell definitely still needs to be fired. Juan Manuel Ventura. Brian, I told you Norvell wins out, especially with Clemson win, saves Norvell job. I'll take Clemson next week just because they'll be mad. They choked against Duke late in the game, and they went for 2 and gave it up, all that stuff. But if Florida State's dialed in like they were tonight, they'll beat Clemson. By the way, just for your entertainment, forget the Clemson-Florida State rivalry thing. If you have not seen it yet, Dabo is not normally like this with his players. It's very rare. Mid-third quarter, fourth quarter, something. I don't know exactly when. He walks over to the defensive bench and lit into them in one of those tirades that he doesn't do. It was Woody Hayes-like. No, there was no volume, and I'm not sure he cusses, but I have a feeling there were some 4-letter words that began with F involved in that. And they were atrocious on defense. So I don't understand how you have multiple NFL players in your front seven, Sammy Brown, the 2D linemen, etc., and you suck on defense. Clemson's coaching staff needs to be gutted again, and they need to rebuild. I don't know if Dabo's meant for that. He's not a very patient guy. Alpha, don't think we can fire him until next year or 27. That might be. If that's the case, it's going to be a long time for me. That's going to be rough. He needs to go still. Yes, he does. One. Norvell sneaky wins his way for another year with a win over Clemson. Boy, I hope you're wrong on that one. Eric Edwards. That's why I stress this all the time. If you have NFL dreams, no matter what the record is, you play hard no matter what, you need good film. Daryl Jackson, just as at a point, played pretty well tonight. He's never going to have a lot of stats. I notice him more watching clips, going back and watching film where I'm rewinding, because he gets doubled a lot. But plays like that, where he takes up two blockers, Nicholson had some tackles tonight. Part of it was Daryl did his job. There's truth in that. I think Big Daryl's going to go in the first 3 rounds of the draft. Alpha, I think the AD will be fired first, signing him to that contract. You very well could be right on that. Hadn't thought about it, but that's true. Blake Nagy, let's not make this about Mike. We already know. Just enjoy the win. I'm okay with that too. Doc Livingston, people need to get off Brock. That fumble was on the line. He's the most loyal player on the team. Let him get his reps and have some fun too. Rhinos, I'm a Brock fan. He loves FSU, and I respect him for his loyalty. A lot of guys would have left. That's true. Miami lost again. Don't think they can get into the ACC title game. Probably not. FSU won big. Clemson lost. Miami lost. Gators lost. Life is good. Doc Livingston. That's a good point. I'm a fan of Brock, too, as long as he is on the bench. Surfer RC. Oh, that's rough. That's rough, man. But I get it. I get it. Malik Stuckey, honestly, our worst loss was against the Christmas trees. Man, the Stanford game is just horrific. Milt Lester, you never know the Jekyll and Hyde FSU team is going to show up. That is also true. This Florida State team is impossible to figure out. Zachariah Pochel, don't care, fire Norvell. No argument there. Thank you, Brock, but go play at a smaller school. You guys are brutal. World Series going insane right now. What's going on? That's from Find Flacco. I have no idea. I'm not paying attention to any of the scores. So, what else is going on here? Is there something going on with the World Series? Oh, 4-4. Top of the ninth, 2 outs. Interesting. Trying to see here. For those of you that are interested, Utah-Cincinnati is a pretty interesting game right now if you want to watch some football. 14-7. Cincinnati's only got 1 loss. West Virginia beat Houston today. That's kind of interesting. Speaking of the wacky ACC, Louisville played awful in the first half. Scored 21 unanswered points in the second half to beat Virginia Tech 28-16 on the road. It's just like it's so weird. The Gators did choke. Shocker. Florida choked. Jeremiah Love is still really good. Texas Tech came back and destroyed Kansas State on the road. Mississippi, Ole Miss gets the win over South Carolina 30-14. And USC beats Nebraska. Nebraska's quarterback, Raiola, got hurt, and that's where he got hurt. They were done. So those are a few of the other scores around college football. But it's fun talking a little football around the country. These are good games. Late November, early November, late October, they're the best. It's the best week of college football in the year because everything matters now. I hope this win lands Norvell a contract somewhere else. Jermaine Williams, Jabril Rawls proves Pensacola, Florida is under-recruited by the Noles. It's in their backyard. True. Been saying it forever. I-10 quarter. What's up? Fine Flacco, 4 for 4, top of the ninth. Yep. Tied it up with a home run. Jackson Building Supply. The refs weren't playing for the other team for once. Arch turning a corner. By the way, Arch did play better today. I don't know. Vandy's defense is basically zone, but they do a pretty good job. I think also their lack of depth is starting to show itself in the SEC. That's a long march. Lack of recruiting doomed Mike here, 100%. Mike Norvell, November record is 13-7. That's okay. Plant the spear, go Noles. All right. One last comment here that I'm going to end it. Overall, it's just nice to see Florida State play with some fire, man. It's hard to figure them out, and it's what makes it so frustrating. But again, I give a tip of the cap to the staff, especially to the players, because a lot of them could have checked out. They didn't commit dumb penalties. Wake Forest did. They didn't turn the ball over at any opportunity times. Wake Forest did. They converted more third downs. And by the way, I don't think I gave this stat, 7 out of 11 compared to 6 out of 16. I mean, Wake was decent on it, but some of those were later in the game. Florida State just executed better. That's it. It was just flat out. I know that's generic, boring answer. They just executed better. I mean, where guys missed when they had the ball. They tackled better when they didn't have the ball. Their defense was on a string, everybody playing the right spots, making it hard to throw into tighter windows for Wake Forest. It's just they played better football. The question is why? Why did it suddenly happen? I have no idea. But as they say, enjoy what you got. Move forward, be positive, and go with it from there. So this is Brian Smith signing off on another late night edition. Florida State goes up and destroys Wake Forest 42-7. Let's see how the rest of the season goes. I believe now the Noles are dead up at 4-4. Next game's at Clemson. I'll have a show on Sunday, probably early evening, late afternoon, possibly. It depends on how much film I go through. But this is going to be interesting. If they win the Clemson game, who knows? Who knows? But that's where we're at. Florida State deserves credit, and give it to them. So thank you once again. If you have not already, become an everydayer, like and subscribe. We will see you again soon here on Locked on Seminoles.